So I call you order the service to order by giving honor to God, our Creator, our Provider, and our Redeemer. We love the Lord our God with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all our strength. And we love our neighbors as ourselves as we give honor to our spiritual guides, to our to our holiness of blessed memory, Mildred Miller, to Master Malvin, to our Supreme Father Marshall Davis, our Supreme Mother Aletha Rovina Drake Davis, to the Mother's Board, Father's Board, and to all the other boards that are among us, to our leaders in the country, in our cities, and to the congregation that is here with us now and that will come. I greet you with Hotep. Peace abide. Shalom. As I said earlier, our scripture is the 118th Psalm. It's a long psalm, but I think it's a wonderful psalm. So I'm going to begin reading the 18th Psalm. I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I call to the Lord, who is worthy of praise, and I have been saved from all my enemies. The cords of death entangled me. The torrents of destruction overwhelmed me. The cords of the grave coiled around me. The snares of death confronted me. In my distress, I called to the Lord. I cried to my God for help. From his temple, he heard my cry. He heard my voice. My cry came before him into his ears. The earth trembled and shook, and the foundations of the mountains shook. They trembled because he was angry. Smoke rose from his nostrils, consuming fire came from his mouth, burning coals blazed out of it. He parted the heavens and came down, dark clouds were under his feet. He mounted the cherubim and flew, he soared on the wings of the wind. He made darkness his covering, his canopy around him, the dark rain clouds of the sky. Out of the brightness of his presence, clouds advance with hailstones and bolts of lightning. The Lord thundered from heaven, the voice of the Most High resounded. He shot his arrows and scattered the enemy. With great bolts of lightning, he routed them. The valleys of the sea were exposed, and the foundation of the earth laid bare at the rebuke, Lord, at the blast of breath from your nostrils. He reached down from on high and took hold of me. He drew me out of deep waters. He rescued me from my powerful enemies, from my foes who were too strong for me. They confronted me in the day of my disaster, but the Lord was my support. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord has dealt with me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands, he has rewarded me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord. I'm not guilty of turning from my God. All his laws are before me. I have not turned away from his decrees. I have been blameless before him. I have kept myself from sin. The Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands in his sight. To the faithful, you show yourself faithful. To the blameless, you show yourself blameless. To the pure, you show yourself pure. But to the deceivers, you show yourself shrewd. You save the humble, but bring low those whose eyes are haughty. You, Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light. With your help, I can advance against a troop. With my God, I can scale a wall. As for God, he is perfect. The Lord's word is flawless. He shields all who take refuge in him. For who is God besides the Lord? And who is the rock except our God? It is God who arms me with strength and keeps me secure. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He causes me to stand on the heights. He trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. You make your saving help my shield, and your right hand sustains me. Your help has made me great. You provide a broad path for my feet so that my ankles do not give away. I pursue my enemies and overtook them. I do not turn back till they are destroyed. You armed me with strength for battle. You humbled my adversaries before me. You made my enemies turn their backs in flight, and I destroyed my foes. They cried for help, but there was no one to save them. To the Lord, but he did not answer. I beat them as fine as wind-blown dust. I trampled them like mud in the streets. You have delivered me from the attacks of the people. You have made me the head of nations. People I do not know now serve me. Foreigners cower before me. As soon as they heard of me, they obey me. They all lose heart. They come trembling from their strongholds. The Lord lives. Praise be to my rock. Exalted be God our Savior. He is the God who avenges me, who subdues nations under me, who saves me from my enemies, who exalts me above my foes. From a violent man you rescued me. Therefore, I will praise you, Lord. Among the nations, I will sing the praises of your name. He gives his king great victories. He shows unfailing love to his anointed, to David, and to his descendants forever. I've read the 100, I'm sorry, I've read the 18th Psalm in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Blessed Mother. Amen, amen, amen. We're now going to have the Lord's Prayer. And I asked, even though the mics are muted, that you repeat along with me as we say it. We mute everyone so that we don't interrupt each other and make it sound gobbled over the air. But please repeat the Lord Prayer with me. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen, amen, amen. And now for our song, I need to just switch over the settings a bit. We're going to hear our ram's horn again. Um, as I get it set up, I just want to make sure it's set up to be able to hear the sound through it. And now we'll listen to the ram's horn blowing. Thank you for listening for that ram's horn. I do want to change my settings back. We're going to do our meditation in a moment. Just need to get it set back up the other way. Our meditation this morning is called Sunbeams of Life. It's based on our message that we're going to be doing today. And again, even though your mics are muted, please repeat after me with the meditation. Here begins our meditation. The Lord has placed the sun in the sky like an altar of life to rule the day. The healing rays of sunlight are a daily supply of blessings to me and all of God's creation. Thank you for your sunbeams of life, O Lord. Fill me to overflowing with peace, blessings, righteousness, health, and joy. Amen, amen, amen. So that is the end of our devotion, and we'll start talking about our lesson today. Let me just get one more drink of water here. And for those who can see the screen, we're looking at the Abi Dua. Abi Dua is an African Adinkra symbol. It's called a palm tree, and it looks like a palm tree. And the symbol is, it signifies wealth, resourcefulness, and self-sufficiency. And it says that a palm tree symbolizes that to the Africans because there are many diverse products that come from a single palm tree. You can use a palm tree to make wine. You can use it for make oil. You can make brooms, uh, roofing materials. There are many things that come from the palm tree. So it is a very resourceful fruit, and it can help you to have wealth and make you self-sufficient because of so many things that you can get from that palm tree. And in our message today is going to talk about being that tree. Now, another reason I like this symbol of the palm tree is because it shows the three main spiritual things about a tree. On the top, it has the branches and the leaves, which it draws in from the higher planes, we say. The branches of the trees on top of a tree, it's like they're drawing in from the higher planes. We say the higher planes is because that is where the tree is drawing in the light from the heavens in its branches and its leaves. Then it has the bark of the tree, the middle part of the tree, that kind of is a protection. It's like wrapped to protect it against the things that are in the on the world here on the plane that's level. So it has a protection. So one, it can draws in and it draws in for protection. But a tree also has what you can see in here. It has roots, and the roots go into the ground and absorb in all of the healing properties. The wealth of healing properties come to us from the roots of that palm tree. So, well, the roots of every tree has those symbols in it. It has the branches and leaves at the top that draw in light from the heavens. It has the bark that shows that that tree has a protection. It provides protection for the inside of the tree with that trunk. I'm still calling it the trunk. The bark is on the trunk of the tree, and then you have the roots of the tree, which also absorbs that water and minerals and other things from the earth. You know, the Africans call the earth the medicine bag of God. They believe that the earth, that God puts medicine in the earth, just like you would put medicine in your medicine bag, and that if you want to be healed, you sometimes need to draw that. And they believe that plants are there to help to draw God's medicine from the earth and receive it into the plant. And we want to be the same way. We want to draw that blessings that God has from the earth, and then give healing to ourselves and all those around us. Now we're going to go to our message, um, and I know we are about the time where people start joining us. I'm glad we did have a long scripture this morning, so it did start early. But our message actually comes from this is the message that was drawn from Supreme Father Marshall Davis, Sr., for the temple. Each year we draw a message for the temple as a whole, and each month we share that message with us. So this is the message we have, and the message starts off by saying, "Wake up early to meet the rising sun." It says, "Wake up early to meet the rising sun." The sun is a channel of life and a habitation for angelic beings. Now, when it says rise up early, we look now, we're still in daylight saving time, and early is kind of is a different early, because when I look to see what time is sunrise right now, that's 7 o'clock. So it's telling us to rise up early, or rise up before 7 o'clock, so that you can meet the rising sun, because the sun is a channel of life. So much of our life depends on getting sunlight, just like either directly from the healing rays of the vitamin D that we get into our skin from the sun, and for the sunlight that we talked about earlier that get into plants and they help to make the things that we need. Now we get it indirectly through the plants, but it still shows that the sun is a channel of life. And with that life that it has, the Supreme Father is telling us to remember that that life that is giving is because it is a habitation for angelic beings, that it's a spiritual sun as well as that physical sun we see standing out there. And that just like it gives us that health and strength or vitamin D for the physical body, for people that are spiritually minded, which the Bible says we should be spiritually minded rather than just carnally minded, we have to believe that they're angelic beings. They are messenger beings, beings of light that God has created, that are also capable of being drawn into us. Now, while we're talking about early, Supreme Mother would always tell us about being able to get up early and meet some of that energy that's being poured out early in the morning. And she said you meet that energy early in the morning because in the morning it's quiet. People haven't started a lot of their wishes and dreams, and well, they're dreaming, but they haven't started some of the commotion of life to change and divert the early pure meaning of the energy that God is pouring out. But you said in that morning hours, you will get a better class of energy. You'll get a better pure source of energy because it's not mixed in with all of the arguments and other things that people are going through. So that as it's being poured out in the morning is a beautiful time to draw in that spiritual energy that comes from the sun. Because when we're saying rise up and meet the sun, it doesn't mean you have to go outside, because that spiritual energy from the sun is coming in to your house, no matter how thick your walls are. That spirit of God is coming in. So it's telling us, get up early in the morning, meet that pure energy. And when I say pure, it has not been tainted by the hustle and bustle of activity from people. So with the message goes on to say, within the sun are the ordinances of God. So it's saying right within the sun itself, God has placed his ordinance. A lot of times we hear and it tells us that there's a glory in the stars, and that glory or that light that's in the stars is saying that that is like the ordinances, that is like the laws and the rules of God that are even in the spiritual sun, that those ordinances are there. you know for spiritualists, we believe, or for spiritual minded people, we believe that when God is in something, or God's righteousness is in something, that it becomes uh, and it comes with wisdom, knowledge, and power. That God has wisdom, knowledge, and power. So when we even think of things that we might think, oh, that's an inanimate thing. No, God's wisdom and power is in it. And it's saying here with the sun that God ordinances are there. So it's not that we're saying that we're going to the sun to get something from some god of the sun. We're saying that no, it's God's ordinances that are there in the sun, and we want to comply with those ordinances. Now, when we think of science, we think of it now as being this totally separate thing. But in ancient days, science was a search for knowledge about God, and they believed in all these things that it was God they were actually trying to find in these things. So when they think about the spirit behind things like the sun, we believe that that spirit that's behind the sun, and when I say behind it, that invisible things that we get or spiritual things we get from the sun, we believe that that is God in action. So as the message goes on to say, angelic beings are the facilitators of the divine ordinances. So the ordinances are in the sun, and then there are angelic beings who facilitate those ordinances, those sayings, those edicts of God, those powers of God. They're the ones who facilitate them, that energy getting to us. So say God ordains the sun. So it's saying that it was God who made the sun. We believe that God made the sun, and all these things that we're talking about receiving from the sun, we're saying that they come from God. This is something that or God has ordained. So it's saying the sun, or it serves as the source of life energy to this solar system. So the sun, it says, serves as a source of life energy for this solar system because that's the way God ordained it. To go on with the message, it says, open your consciousness to being empowered and enlightened by its rays. So earlier we said that the angels are beings that facilitate these divine ordinances getting it to us. So we believe that these angels are riding with the or directing the rays of the suns to come to us. And so these suns or these ordinances that we see believe that can come from God's ordinances can empower us and enlighten us through those rays of the suns coming down to us. The message says, within each ray and particle of light is the energy that awakens the higher potentials of life in every entity. So it says in each one of us, the rays can help to awaken the higher potentials that are part of our life. Just like when the rays of sun hit a plant, it gets that chlorophyll in that plant to actually have the potential to make the sugar and the carbohydrates that we need for life. So we're saying spiritually, it works the same way, as above, so below. So that spiritual potential within us can be awakened and activated by that sunlight. Our message says, perceive yourself as a tree that draws energy directly from sunlight, using the rays of energy to be fruitful, to multiply, to renew, to conquer, and have dominion. Now, this is where I said why I use that palm tree, is it? Because of this line from the message. Because it's saying to perceive yourself, and that means visualize yourself as a tree. Because remember, you're supposed to get up early in the morning. When you get up early in the morning, you need to visualize yourself as a tree, and that tree is absorbing energy directly from the sun. But remember, this is the spiritual sun. So we're not saying that you got to go outside and stand and get burnt in the sun. But you, if you can get somewhere nice in the sun and not be overheated, that's fine. But it's wherever you are, perceive yourself as a tree that is drawing energy directly from that sun, that spiritual sun, which has the ordinances of God in it, or and its rays are bringing us those potentials from God. And it says you can be able to use the raised energy. And here, just like that palm tree, where it can do multiple things, that energy can be used to do many different things. Because here it's saying that energy can be used to be fruitful, that energy can be used to multiply, that energy can be used to renew yourself, it can be used to conquer, and it can be used to have dominion. All these things are possible from the energy from the sun. Okay. Um, so we want to be able to not just draw that energy, but like the palm tree, we want to be able to use it in many different ways and know that it's blessing us in many different ways. Ways that we know, which we can direct through our prayers, and even make sure you open yourself up to some of the things that you may not know is coming, that God helps protect you from it. Just like that palm tree had that bark around its trunk, that we want to have that bark around us also, so that we can be protected. The message goes on to say, just a few moments of prayerful meditation and the empowering rays of the sun can rid one of disease, charge your life energy, and centralize you with divinity. Now I'll read that again. So just a few moments of prayerful meditation. So this said, this doesn't even have to be a long meditation, but just a few minutes of prayerful meditation, seeing the rays of the sun being drawn into you, and we're saying that spiritual sun, when you're in those empowering rays, it can help take diseases out of you. It can charge or recharge your life energy and centralize or actually balance. When it's talking about centralizing, to me, it's saying it can put your divinity in balance where you're doing just the right amount. That usually when we're saying centralize, that's what we're talking about. We're trying to get it in balance. You got it, just like this is the month of Libra, and you can think of that scale, it centralizes that scale. Get that scale where it's in the right place. The sun reaches each morning. The sun reaches each morning. I'm sorry. The sun rises each morning with healing and harmony in its wings of light. And that's what we're saying. When that sun first comes up, when a lot of that energy has not been disturbed by the hustle and bustle of day, it's actually have that greater healing and harmony in its wings of light. That's what we're saying, getting up early, get up before the hustle and bustle, wake up before that. And it doesn't mean you got to get up and start the hustle and bustle. It's saying try to get into that quiet of that healing harmony that is happening in that morning, and see those wings of light being brought to you, and that you're going to absorb those. So the rays will fly to you to awaken and germinate the innate spiritual seeds and substance within you. So it said within you, there are substances, just like we talked about within the plant, there is that chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is there. You can see the greenness in plants is that chlorophyll. And that chlorophyll needs that sun rays to become active. Or sometimes you might have what we call those photoelectric cells in your yard, and they're, or your house, on top of your house, or wherever you have them. Inside those cells are the materials that when that light hits it, it creates energy. And spiritually, we need to see ourselves as the same way, that God has already given us the substance within us, but it needs that activating spirit. But he gives us that activating spirit also with the energy that he pours out from the sun. So it awakens and germinates that innate spiritual seed and substance within you. The energy of the sun consciously calls upon and receives purity, which can enrich you spiritually and materially. So it's saying when you get the energy of the sun, it starts to call and receive purity within you, and that will enrich you spiritually and materially. So having that energy within you will actually call up. like calling up from that chlorophyll or from whatever is in photoelectric cells. It will call that up and call it for it to be pure and produce for you both spiritually and materially. Say, envision yourself being empowered by the sunbeams, that these sunbeams are giving you power. And see the sunbeams as angelic beings of light. Now, this is a very important part. See the sunbeams, beings, as angelic beings of light. Now, one of the reasons why we see it as angelic beings spiritually is because, again, we don't just want to see this as a energy that has no intelligence behind it. When we see things as angelic beings, we are saying that there is intelligence that goes with the energy that God gives you. And that intelligence of that energy can decide if you don't want to use it for proper things, that it can draw away from you, or it can pull back from you, or it can cause harm on you because it has that intelligence of being like an angelic being. So these are not just these dumb sunbeams that coming to you, but they are angelic beings of light. And these angelic beings of light are looking to do good. They're looking to do righteousness. They're looking to help to save mankind, not to destroy mankind. And you will be able to get more and better blessings when you see them as these intelligent beings, this intelligent energy. Like I said, we see God as a triune God, that that God had, say omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. We see all those powers being a part of everything that God's create. So when God sends you energy, it also has intelligence that goes with it. And so it becomes like an intelligence. So that sunbeams come to you and they can be intelligent. And you also want the sunbeams to be intelligent. Another great reason for you want them to be intelligent is that you may not know what is wrong with you. You may not know what your problem is or a problem that is coming up to you in life. If the sunbeams are intelligent, they will be able to know what you need even when you don't know what you need. Now, if it was just the energy that you got and you had to be the one that added the intelligence to it all the time, that means that if you didn't know, the energy couldn't do anything. It'd be like you got energy or you got some gas in a can, but you had nothing to put it in. But if it's an intelligent energy or an angelic being of light, and it comes into you and it sees something that you have as a problem in your life, it can say, you know something, I need to work on that. So to us, it is very important that when you're drawing in energy, that you see it as angelic, see it as being having an intelligence, and seeing that its intelligence comes from God. That's why we're saying it's angelic being, because that angel is a messenger. The Hebrew word for angel actually means that they are messengers. So they are messengers from God, they are messages from God. But like you said, when God sends a message, it comes with an intelligence, and that intelligence is what we call angelic. And so that angelic beings of light will help to restore you and save you. So the sun gives light to the righteous and the unrighteous souls. So it's saying that when the sun gives out, that everybody is really receiving it. It does not say that, oh, I'm going to give my light out only to the righteous and the unrighteous souls will not get it. No, everybody gets it. But I think you'll see, but when you are righteous, because they are intelligent beings that are given to you, that you will get more out of it than the unrighteous. But it's not like the unrighteous don't receive it. It's not like the unrighteous don't even receive the angelic beings when it sees something wrong with them, which they can improve, that they will try to improve it even for the unrighteous. But when you work with the righteousness, you're working with that intelligence. And so that just like any intelligent being, if you work with it, you can get more than if you are working against it. The sun pours out daily blessings. So say every day the sun is pouring out blessings to us. The message says each day a special blessing is disseminated through the first morning rays. And we talk about those morning rays again. That is important and because what it's saying is that in the morning that message is clearer. That message has more power. That message has not been mingled in with the, like I said, the hustle and bustle, people getting up and having all of their uh, crazy ideas about things and adding that to it. So in that morning is a beautiful time to get that purest energy in those morning rays. Very important that it's in the morning rays. And here it says something that is vitally important. It says, the sun is the altar of God for this solar system. So it says that's what we look at the sun as. The sun is like an altar that God has placed in this solar system to help it stay in balance and harmony. So just like we would put up an altar, it's saying that God placed that altar there, and that altar is a holy place. The altar can help bring to you, it says in the Bible that the altar, which was the Ark of the Covenant, was a place that God could commune with the people of Israel from. But it's saying that God has made the sun as it is an altar that for the whole solar system, that it can bring God's ordinances with it from because it's because of the spirit behind the sun, not because of some, we're not trying to say there's some God in the sun. We're saying that just like if you put up an altar in your house, it can help empower you to receive spiritual things, that God has put the sun in the heavens to help direct spiritual energy into you. And that morning rays of those suns, when it's not been corrupted by other people's thought and the hustle and bustle of the day, will make you where you get a pure source of that energy. And now going back, because we said the sun is the altar of God for the solar system. It is the vessel of light that radiates our prayer requests for each of us. So it's saying that our prayers, again, going back to that idea of chlorophyll, you may have your prayer there, but your prayers also need something activating power to them. Uh, Many times it goes to others to be able to help to add the activating power. But this is saying, remember, another thing we said about the palm tree is self-sufficient. You can get an activating energy from your prayers by using the spiritual power behind the sun. So it's saying that each day the sun is trying to invigorate our prayers or our blessings, giving them a special blessing for each day. And that the sun being that altar and being a vessel of light, that it can actually help your prayer requests for each of us by invigorating them, by giving them more power, by giving them what they need to become active and germinate in your life. Each day, and this is back to the message, each day, accept the enriching rays that enlighten and empower you. So it's in each day, be accepting all of these rays that come from the sun, these spiritual rays that come from the sun, because they will enlighten and empower you. And here it says, while you're doing this, facing that rising sun, it reads, face the east and be blessed abundantly. Face the east and be blessed abundantly. Read the 18th Psalm, burn gold candles and burn gold candles. Um, and I know I've been talking for a while, and I do want to give others a chance to talk about it. And we'll go back over some of the points. I know I read through it without stopping, but I wanted to make sure that we at least got through it once before we get with anything else. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Nobody got any comments? So I can ask a question. How do you feel about those morning rays, about rising up early in the morning to meet the sun? Anyone have any comments about rising up early to meet that
Yes,
sun?
I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, in the morning it's good to get up early. I usually get up in the morning like 4 o'clock to do my scriptures or to meditate, even to pray over different things or problems that you may have in your life, or you may want to send out for somebody else or that has a problem. And sometimes you just get up and pray, and
Mhm.
it'll lead you to different Psalms in the Bible. You don't know why you're reading different things, and you don't know why you're meditating for different things. But I find that when you do, it's always someone that needs something or someone that will need extra prayer or need sending out to. And if you get up early in the morning, you will be led in what to do and get answers for problems that you have or things that you need to resolve. If you just sit still, meditate, and ask God to help you and give you the answers that you need, even if it's for a health problem, a bill, any situation. If you get up early in the morning when it's quiet, everything is in the stillness, you can meditate and resolve most of your problems, your health problems, any issue, if you just send out and ask God for health and strength. That early morning rising helps so much because that way you can concentrate and you will hear what you need to do and feel God's presence and telling you what needs to be done in the order of that day. Thank you.
Yes, I so agree with you. That getting up that early, and it's just a whole different feeling when you're up early in the morning, and it's like the like I say, the hustle and bustle of the world hasn't started yet, and it's not that you have to get up because sometimes I'll get up and I won't stay up, but I like to get up when it's that stillness because it's a different type of energy that is available to you than I feel almost any other time of the day. Maybe sometime at midnight, maybe sometimes at midnight, but in that morning when that sun is coming up and some of the speakers talk about it says those says it's like vitality globals. So it's like little balls of energy that are there. And from our lesson, it is saying that those globals are very, very important and very special in that morning because in that morning sun, like I said, they haven't been tainted. And so the true directives that are coming to you straight from God, they are still in that state of purity. Anyone else have any questions? I mean, any thoughts or questions about that rising sun?
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Deacon Jackson. Yeah, as I was speaking to you earlier, Father Tyler, I was saying, I truly believe it's a gift from God, and anointing from God to be able to get up early in the morning and pray,
Hmm.
and even to be able to wake up without an alarm clock, because a
Hmm.
lot of people just can't do it, and when God gives you that blessing that you can wake up every morning without an alarm clock, and He often get me up sometimes 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I go to praying and don't know why I'm praying, but praying because I feel like my spirit is directing me to be obedient. But as I was speaking to you this morning, sometimes we have to know. I think truly that we have to know when to hold and fold. We don't want
Hmm.
to put ourselves in a position where we think we more greater than God because we not God. We beings of God, but we not God. We made in His image,
Hmm.
and at the same time, people will put you on that pedal scale if you allow them to, and that's where we have to really be careful because we don't want to be on the let God put us on that and he's gonna give you a platform, you
Hmm.
understand, to be a part of. But people will start trying to make you feel like you just that great one because they like what you're doing, and a lot of times you have to be able to sort out the difference in saying, well, okay, it's not so much that even I might not even be that good, but they look at it as a situation where if I can get him to get up and do it, if he gonna do it, I ain't got to worry about doing it,
Hmm.
And which to me that's a bad. a bad thought to have. But sometimes I find myself as I be on the prayer line, I get up to go to work. It seems like someone tell me to look to the left, and I can look and I can just see the sun. It's almost like the sun is speaking directly to me. It's beaming and shining on me, and it's like a joyful feeling start coming over me. It's like a presence that start coming to move something inside of me, and I just feel like I say, okay, God, I feel like this is going to be a wonderful, productive day, and as I start speaking it seems like it just come to pass. I go throughout the day and everything, and if I accident up the road where somebody done got into a serious accident, I thank God. I say, well, Lord, thank you, because you sustained me. You slowed me down just enough to where my eyes can see this, but you didn't let me run upon it and be a part of it. So, and I love that early morning prayer. I really do, and I think it's a blessing when we can get up early in the morning and start worshiping God in the morning, the wee hours of the morning, as I call it, into the darkness, knowing that darkness is going to soon pass and that light. But when that light come upon us, it's going to be a radiant light. It's going to be like God is directing and speaking to you. So I think a lot of us miss out. A lot of people miss out on that nurture. But the Bible speaks of God have chosen ones. Many are called, but only a few is chosen. And that's the thing. He tells us all of us is called, but I think it come back being that will too. It be that will. And as I pray, as I begin to pray, as you was reading 18, and his word will go. No, it's just like as I pray, when you start praying, you do take time out to pray and ask God to deal with your enemies. And before you know it, you start seeing these things, the results of people that's coming against you. God tends to move them out the way, or he changed their mindset, or he changed your mindset that your faith becomes strong. You don't worry about them no more. You just say, okay. And then before you know it, you even start praying for them. But as it goes, not praying that they overtake you, they're not praying that they defeat you, but praying that they would turn from their ways, and they will be able to receive that love, that same love, and be able to see that same grace that you see, that God's grace is so sufficient, that it covers a multitude of things, that love that he given his only forgotten son, it was for all of us, not just no individual. It was for all of us, but we have to embrace it, and we do have to do our part. And that's the thing. We have a part that we have to play. We have a role that we have to play. We're a piece of this puzzle. And if you're not willing to do that, then I think you miss out. And I hope I was saying that the right way. If not, but I know you'll go ahead and put it in the perspective that it's supposed to be. Amen.
No, that's great. Because and it's so important when we're talking about getting up in those wee hours in the morning that you do it as a time to. Like you said, when you look out and on the road and you see the sun coming, and it gives you that peace. This is a time when you want to try to be as get that, because it's talking about that peaceful meditation. Uh, so you want to kind of like wake up, or just fully recognize it coming into you. That's why I'm saying, like, you just see yourself like a tree. A tree is not going out there waving its arms. It's not making a lot of noise. It's not dancing around. Sometimes the wind might blow it, and so it could dance a little bit. But that tree kind of just stands there, and it just absorbs that sunlight. And we have to learn it. There are times when we need to do that too, when we just try to draw in that energy. Um, and it's sort of like not just calling in prayer, but you have to like it feeds the spirit within you. Just like your physical body needs feeding, your spiritual body needs feeding. And this is saying that that light is being poured out, that spiritual light is being poured out in the morning in a pure way. And so your body can feast off of that energy that's being poured out. And because it's angelic, it will have an intelligence to it. So it will know what it's doing. It's not like you have to go and direct it, or give it a whole bunch of instructions on what it's supposed to do. That's why we keep saying it's an angelic power. That angelic being that it is an intelligent power that God is sending out to us. And with the intelligence of that power, we just need to draw it in, just need to suck it in, just like a plant is sucking in that sunshine, just bringing it in and getting it in, and it knows what it's supposed to do. Like when it, you know, the when the sun shines down on the plant and that light hits those leaves and it interacts with that chlorophyll, nobody has to tell the plant, oh, now that you got this. No, 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 no. That light and that chlorophyll know what they need to do. And when it makes decisions on where it should go in the tree. The tree doesn't have to make a whole bunch of decisions. So that energy you can get in the morning, that can help you make it through the day. When people are calling you to do things, have you actually drawn in enough energy to be useful to the people around you? Because this type of energy talking about, this is like a drawing in period, so you will have something to give to people. Like Mother Loretta said, that yes, when you get up in that morning, things are so clear sometimes that some of the people that you need to help, that it will come to you, and you can start some of those prayers for them, because you will be drawing in the resources that both you need and the people around you need. But it's a beautiful thing to know that sometimes just be the tree. You don't have to be the lion and roaring it out. Sometimes you just need to be that tree that draws in the beauty so that you can have the energy, you can have the sustenance to be able to help others. Any other comments or questions? Oh, hold up, hold up. Uh, for some reason, Teresa's trying to talk to us. There you go, Teresa.
Oh, I just had a comment because when you were reading about how the sun, it brought to my mind how healing the sun is,
Hmm.
because I thought about when our children had jaundice,
Hmm.
and I had to put him up in the windowsill when the sun was had to put the baby in the windowsill and
Hmm.
the help with the jaundice, and that really helped him. It really healed him if you think about it,
Hmm.
because I vividly remember that. And then I thought too, back in the day, how uh, when your parents washed clothes and they hung them out on the line,
Yes.
how pretty and especially the white clothes,
Hmm.
how the sun like bleached them. Like,
Hmm.
and I remember a time that with scorch, how you be ironing, you scorch something,
Hmm.
and your parents tell you to put it out there in the sun, and the scorch, that scorch part would, it's like the sun would
Beach it.
break it away. That's what I
Hmm.
was thinking about, how like now we run away from the sun when really we should be out in it. As I'm talking about physically,
Hmm.
instead of running away from the sun, we should be at sometimes out in it,
Yeah, you need to get a
because
couple
it
of hours.
does have healing and beneficial powers in the on the material too.
Yes. We need to have some time in the sun because, like I said, you're drawing in that vitamin D. Like you said, with jaundice and other things, there are things that it can physically heal you just being out in the sun. But spiritually, it's the same way. There's some spiritual things that you get from the sun, and we're talking about drawing those in too, so they can help to cleanse us of them, of some of the things that we have inside. Because remember, all our enemies, we're always worrying about enemies on the outside. But if you remember that parable we said from Jesus, sometimes you got to get the beam out of your own eye before you top and get the speck out of the other person's eye. And I believe that even works with, a lot of times we always talk about, oh, somebody is doing something against me. Somebody is doing something against me. If you can clear up some of the unrighteousness within yourself, people would not be able to get you so much. Many of those things that people do to try to harm you or root you or whatever you want to say, it takes something within you to help you get caught up in it. I used to call it, to me, I used to always see it as like a bear trap. If the bear wasn't going for the meat, it would never get in the bear trap. And we are some of the same way. Some of the things that they do to try to harm people, are they are depending on you to be just like the bear and to go after the meat. And if you don't go after the meat, you wouldn't be in problems. I think the Bible says is that it's when it was trying to tell us to be as smart as a bird to me. And the reason it was saying that is that a person who is a fowler, and that's a person who out there going to catch birds, that they would never go out there and set the trap in front of the bird because birds would be kind of know if they see somebody setting the trap, for some reason birds are intelligent enough that they're not going to get into a trap that you see them that they see you put it in front of. But people a lot of times not. They'll see somebody do something that's a trap for them, and they'll go rushing into the trap, uh, yelling, that you can't do that to me, you don't do that to me, and this is like to me, it's like a bird seeing a fowl or go up there or someone who's hunting birds to put a trap for them, and you see them put the trap there, and yet you go and run into the trap. You can do a lot of healing. That's why a lot of times they're talking about being righteous. If you are not greedy, a lot of people that play those con artist tricks would not be able to get you. You would not fall for them because you are not greedy. Most of them are depending on the greed of the person that they're trying to con to get them in trouble. They're not going to, if the con artist doesn't come up there and try to hit you over the head and take your money, they try to get you to think that, oh, I'm going to make a killing off of something. I'm going to make this big money off of it. I'm going to have access to the a big windfall, and I'm going to be in control of it. And that's how they get you. They con you by playing on your own greed. And many of the things that we think are people out trying to root us, it is because of our own greed, our own unrighteousness that we get trapped in it. And we could save ourselves from many of that by not having that greed or that unrighteousness within us. And we're saying that by absorbing in some of the sun, just like Saint Teresa was talking about getting that scorched shirt that you ironed it and scorched it and you put it out in the sun, how it could bleach it away. We're saying some of that same type of things that spiritual energy of the sun can do that for your life. It can take some of those things away from you. It can take some of that unrighteousness, your own unrighteousness, that beam that's when you're within your own eye that gets you in trouble with so many of the little specks. Because once you get that, like I said, once you get that beam out of your own eye, you can start to see the speck in the other person's eye. You can start to see not just that the person is trying to get you, but you can actually see better what they're trying to do. And you'll see sometimes people that are out to get you is because they think that you have harmed them in some way and they feel justified in trying to harm you back when you don't really have anything against them. But if you start thinking like them and thinking that, oh, I got to harm them, I got to get back at them, I got to do something to them, then you get trapped in that bear trap where they've suckered you in um, because you are not right inside. But we're talking about having that time to get you right inside, to get you balanced inside. And when I should be saying us, to get us right inside, get us balanced inside, so that when we get balanced inside, that we will be able to live our lives better. But so many people, if they would just learn not to be greedy themselves, not to be hateful themselves, they'll find a lot of these traps that they think they're getting in because, oh, this person root me, or, oh, this person didn't like me. Because people are so quick to think if the other person doesn't like me, that gives me an excuse to not like them. And that's one of the worst things you can do is think just because the other person doesn't like you, that you have an excuse not to like them. Now, it doesn't say that you have to be a fool for a person, but know that you should not hate somebody just because they hate you. And the reason I say you shouldn't do that is because it gets your thinking off balance. you don't see the truth anymore. You know, we had a prayer that we used to say that we wanted to have our eyes blessed that they see beyond just the appearance of thing and see not only well, to say it right, to see not only the right interpretation. Sometimes you have to see the wrong interpretation that people have of things to be able to get to the truth, because so many people are living things because they have interpreted something wrong. And your eyes can be blessed that you can see not just the right interpretation, because a lot of people think that that's the best way to live is, oh, I see what is right. But sometimes your eyes have to be able to see what is wrong with that person's interpretation. Just like when you're looking at any other problem, you used to do those things that little artwork that you would look at and it would say, what is wrong with this picture? That is a beautiful thing to be able to find out what is wrong with this picture. To have that kind of vision that actually lets you see what is wrong with something, because you can't correct it if you don't know what's wrong with it. But if you see someone who is angry with you and you don't even want to take to find out what is wrong with them, what is wrong about what they have seen, you're actually putting yourself in a worse condition, not into a better condition. Because if you can find out what is wrong with them, you're in a better position to correct what is wrong. Anyone have any thoughts or questions on that? I'm looking at the list. I don't see anybody uh, saying anything. Um, and 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 let's talk a bit about why we're saying the rays from the sun are like angelic beings, or that the sun is a channel of life and habitation for angelic beings. Does anyone have any questions or thought about seeing the spiritual principles behind that and seeing angelic beings being part of the energy that we get? Or do you see spiritual energy as angelic? No thoughts or questions? Everybody kind of understands that?
What you want to say about it?
It-
Mr.
it-
Davis.
Remember, when I say it's an angelic beings, what to me it means that spiritual energy has intelligence behind it. Do you see that when you receive energy, do you think that energy you get is just like a can of gasoline or a electric battery? Because see, you can take an electric battery and you can put it in anything and it will run whatever you put it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can take gasoline, and as long as you put it into a gas powered engine, gasoline does what gasoline is supposed to do, right?
Yep.
What do you think that angelic beings are the same way? Did you think if you're working with an angelic being that no matter what you're trying to do, no matter what you want to do, that energy or being has to do it?
Well, I just had a thought about that because at one point I was told that God is always pouring out to us, always talking to us, but we aren't. A lot of times we aren't listening.
Hmm.
So I do feel that God is always pouring out to us, but we have to get to the point through meditation and I want to call it get on the frequency
Hmm.
to hear and be and experience. what God is pouring out. Because I was told that God is always talking to us. God is always pouring His Spirit out to us, and well, I don't want to say like it's a outside thing, but it's like it's within us. God is always uh, talking and
Communicating.
trying to get a relationship. I want to say with us, but we aren't listening. We aren't perceiving.
Hmm.
So in that way, I can see, but it's like I don't know when you asked the question the first time. I had a picture in my mind of the physical sun, but that's really not what you're talking about, the physical sun. You're actually talking about the spirit sun within us, right? That's supposed to be pouring out of us. Am I phrasing that right?
Spiritually, I'm talking about both of them.
Ah, okay.
The physical, but physical sun has a spirit behind us, behind it, just like we have a spiritual representation of the sun within us. The 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 sun that was in us is not at the same caliber of energy as the sun that is out, the spiritual sun that's out in the universe. And so we can actually get a bigger charge for the energy within us by interacting with the spiritual energy that's behind the sun. It's like you're saying, yes, they are like radio stations and they're connection points, but they're different size buckets. And God has these buckets of energy that He's pouring out from the sun, from the planets. Like He said, there's a glory in every star. There's a glory that God is pouring out to us that comes from the sun. Now, there's also a sun inside of us. The glory that God is pouring out the uh, from the larger realm can help to activate and energize the sun that is within us to be more balanced. You understand? Or am I
Mhm.
losing you more? So that yes, you do have that a representative of the sun within you, but what we often try to do is to tune in to the even larger realm of energy that God has placed with the sun on the outside, and we try to tune into it uh, and to make it where it can make the sun that's within us to be and in line with God's will and have more energy to make us like a sun or make our aura like a sun that gives out more of the energy. So it's and a lot of times you'll hear him talking about the microcross and the macrocross. And just talking about micro and macro, saying the little one and the big one. That macro means big, micro means small. So there is a representation of the sun that's within you, but it is not of the same magnitude as the sun that God has put into the universe. But as children of the light, you have access to that macro cosm sun. As a child of God, you have the ability to uh, to receive and to reflect that major source of energy. And some of the things that we're talking about here are talking about being able to do exactly that, to learn spiritually how to connect up with some of the higher realm powers of God and make them active in your life because it'll make those resources that God has put in you more powerful. Hopefully, it still makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
I
and the
gotta
thing is,
realize
just
that
don't let me.
it's all related. It's all
Yes,
connected.
it's a lot of big connections. Yes.
Yes.
And you have and you have to start seeing the connections on both levels, and not just saying,
Mm.
"Oh, are you just talking about the macro cost, or you're talking about the micro cost, or you're just talking about the big one, or you're talking about the little one?" Normally, when we're talking spiritually, we're talking about both of them,
Mm.
and we're talking about working with both of them together, because it's when both of them work together that you're going to get the most benefit fit out of it in your life.
I was going to ask your father, can we? I don't know. Is there any way? Can we connect this to? I guess to Moses, the things that he went through uh, when God was using him to bring the people out of Egypt. He kept. He just. It seemed like he just couldn't or wouldn't receive or see the energies and the gifts that God has stored up inside of him that he was giving him. But it's almost like God was showing him, you have to do your part, like we have to play our part,
Hmm.
And it's almost like that part become that faith and that hope. He told Moses, you got the rod and the step, but you got these energies within you that will make the transformation, but you got to be willing to make the transformation. And
Yes.
so that's what was coming to me and my spirit as you was talking. I said, I wonder. Let me ask him. It's the same type of connection that God had with Moses? Even when
Yes.
Moses felt like he couldn't speak, he would say, "Well, I'm sending your brother, Aaron, to speak for you." But then Moses said, "Well, I don't." He said, "Well, look in your hand, you got that rod and that staff, and I think God give us that same rod and that staff, which is what you're talking about, not the energy that's
Mhm.
built up inside of us, but we have to do our part to believe that we can do these things. And I think that's what we're learning more today. That's what really brings you into that transformation is that belief and that faith. That good feeling, that good sense that you get from when you look up to the sun or you done got up and prayed. It's using these different energies and gifts that's inside of you because you are now for going toward making that transformation. And I'm like, good morning, Sister Sue. I'm like, Sister Reese, I don't know if I'm saying it in the right detail, but I just was in my spirit. So help us.
No, no, you're on point in your spirit. That's what we want. And yes, there are several instances in Moses where it shows that. The one you mentioned is when Moses had the rod that he used to split the Red Sea. That Moses, even though he was using the power of God to be able to split the Red Sea, that Moses had to keep the rod up, uh, and as long as he kept that rod up, that power of God could come and be directed towards what his people needed at that particular time. I think they even have it where for a while that Moses even had to have Aaron or somebody to help him keep his arm up to give the people, all of his people, time to cross that Red Sea. So there are instances of showing how you as a being of God can connect up to the higher powers of God. But like he said, that you have to be ready and willing to be able to be a pathway for that energy. And by doing things like it says now, rising up in the morning and connecting yourself to it, that helps you to get that connection and get the connection sometimes prior to when you actually need it, that you will already have that connection there. So when you need it, it'll be much easier to actually to apply it to your life. But with Moses, like he was saying, there were several incidences in Moses's life, and even kind of why. And to me, one of the interesting things about Moses and when he went up on Mount Sinai to get the commandments, that originally God wanted to give it to all the people. When they got to the mountain where God was to give them the Ten Commandments, God didn't say, okay, y'all send Moses up here and I'm going to give it to Moses, and then Moses is going to bring it back down to you. God invited all of them up on top of the mountain. And it was the people who said, no, let Moses go to the top of the mountain, and whatever you tell Moses, we're going to follow that. And so Moses had to go up there himself and hear it and bring it back to them. And by the time he was coming to bring it back, they had made the golden calf. Um, that was sort of like a disgrace to those principles. And I think that's one of the reasons that Moses got so angry, because here God had invited all of you up. He said, all of you are welcome to come up here. And you told God that, no, don't let all of us come up. Let's send Moses up and we'll give it to Moses. And then whatever Moses bring back to us, we will follow it. Um, but we can be the same way. And they did this, according to the uh, Jewish commentaries. One of the reasons they did that is because they believed that you went before God and that you were not right, you were not righteous. They believed that you would be destroyed and you would die. And since they thought that they had some things that they had not gotten right in their life yet, they believed that if they would have went up there, that they would have died because they had unrighteousness in them. So they said, "Oh, Moses seemed to be righteous. Let Moses go up there by himself, and he will not be destroyed by God if he goes up there, because I feel that I'm not right yet. I'm not ready yet." And part of it we need to start saying is we need to get ready. We need to get right inside. We need to be ready that if God has us to send this power down to us and has these opportunities for us to get this power, that we are in a state that we can receive them. So by ridding ourselves of some of these things, and like Mother and like Saint Teresa was saying, that yes, sometimes we are scorched, but God has already made a process that you can take. If you can take a scorched shirt and put it out in the sun and get all the scorch marks, why some of the scorch marks that are on us can't we put them out in that spiritual sun and let them be bleached away? Because one thing about when they had white clothes out there in the sun is, yes, they had bleach in them, but that sun actually, to me, still got them whiter than even bleach. Uh, that when you get the white clothes and you hang them out in the sun and let them just stay out there in the sun, it's like a bleaching that happens to them from that. Any other comments or questions on that?
We can also, when you're talking about the sun and receiving, we can be like a sponge because you have that breath. And when you're breathing, you're absorbing the energies that comes from the sun and in your breath to give you strength. And you're absorbing that, asking God and telling God. Because when we wake up in the morning, first of all, that's the greatest gift from God. First of all, is life.
Mm-hmm.
So in that breath, and when we're meeting that sun and feeling that sun penetrate through us, it's a healing process. It's an absorption that we get. We're absorbing it like a sponge. We can have all kind of miracles to happen from absorbing that sun. We already have it within, but it's like if outer space thing, if you meet an alien and he has that light and he's reflecting that light towards you or whatever, it's like that sun is reflecting and you're penetrating the sun that you have within you. And you doing that, you're going to have more strength, more absorption to do and understand some of the things you need to do in life. And that's what will give you strength too, even through your breathing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, breathing is a beautiful way to absorb some of that energy, um, and that visualization that they're talking about of imagine yourself like a tree drawing it in. Because one of the things that we think about, don't think about when we think about breathing, your all of your skin breathes. Now, most of the oxygen you get in your body comes from your nose, but actually, your skin also breathes. So you are when you're talking about absorbing things, so your skin is also drawing in light and energy. So your skin or so your whole body is designed to draw in energy. And I think that's why it's telling us one of the things it talks about here is imagine yourself like a tree. Imagine yourself breathing in through your spiritual body, because just like your physical body or your physical skin and your nose can breathe in, your spiritual body has the ability to breathe in and absorb. So, especially when you start thinking about yourself like a tree, think about your whole spiritual body as being designed that it can absorb the spiritual energy that God is pouring out. Because I said, just like your physical body needs to draw in energy, like breathing, like food, for it to work at its optimal standards, your spiritual body needs the same things. It needs to draw in that spiritual substance that it needs, so that it can work at the topmost level or optimal level. So what we're talking about in these things is how do you get yourself to optimize, to improve, to uh, heighten your interaction with all the blessings that God has prepared for us. Because we're saying all these things that God designed it this way. I'm not trying to tell you something about something that I designed or something that man designed or something that some other creature or entity designed. I'm talking about this is the way God has designed the universe. This is the way God has made things to work. We can look at nature. The Bible often tells us to look at nature and see the wonders of God. That's what we want to talk about. This is a wonder of God, but there are spiritual wonders that, but most of them work just like many of the material wonders that we see. So take advantage all of these wonders, and yet because they're wonders doesn't mean that you have to go, you might know, not be able to sit down and write a scientific formula for it, but is a wonder that, or a mystery that works. And I share them because they work, not because I can
Right.
sit down and be able to tell you, this is why it works. I'm telling you what works. It works for me. I think
Mm.
Mother Loretta tell you she don't usually give you anything that doesn't work for her. Um, these are things, and I think well, no, I did spell the name correctly. I put your names on there so people could see who was there. And I was just looking that I spelled Loretta correctly. But we're talking about things that we have learned from Supreme Mother, from Master Mal, from Mother Rovina, and from others that work. And because they work, we want to share them and say that this is a way to get your life at a higher level, to use what works, to use the things that God is telling about the glory that's in each sky. That He tells us that the sun actually pours out a rulership. It says the sun to rule the day and the moon to rule the night. So that means it is ruling, that it is pouring something out. In this rulership that it's doing, or this dominion that it has over, the sun has over the day, and the sun has, and the moon has over the night, how can you get yourself that you can actually use it and use it still following God ordinances? Because we're not saying that you're going to get them and then you're going to be able to go against God's ordinances. We're saying that these things work according to God's ordinances, and that you'll be able to, when you use them according to God's ordinances, according to God's word, you will be able to do more with them. It's like a form of prayer that actually becomes simpler than always thinking that you, oh no, you got to just beg God, or you just got to yell at God. You got to make enough noise that God knows that you really, really, really want it. When God is saying, live righteously, and I can get more power in you and through you. Learn how to let and I'm either going to put things there, I'm going to put processes in place that will help you to become more righteous. So that's what we're saying. The sun, with this energy is pouring out, is God's way of actually giving you the opportunity to be cleansed, to be made whole, to be in more balance with his ordinances. And I say his, uh, not because out of habit, not to say that God is only masculine, because God is masculine and feminine and beyond masculine and feminine. Any other questions or comments about that?
I feel to me, I say it's a spiritual formula.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual formula that you use that you know it's going to work, but it's not a formula for just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you know it's you tell people, and they think that you always have to pray or do for them. But once you give them the formula, they could do things for themselves because they also have the powers. We can't always think we have to look up to others for the things that we always need. If they have a formula, I have a power that they can have to use that help others, you have it also. But you have, the formula is you have to believe and you have to have the faith that it's going to work. Once you have the faith and believe that it's going to work, because if it worked for you, it could work for me. Once you have that, things will open up for you and it'll start working. Anything that you need and want, you can get and do for yourself. I'm not saying that you can't ask me to pray for you or to, two of us can agree that it'll give it more power that it'll work. But all these things that you say or feel that you would need, trust in yourself with belief and hope. And once you go out there, I trust God just that much that anything that I ask him for, anything that I need within reason, that he will give it to me. And I'm not glutting and greedy and want this and that. It's things that I say, for me, that's a necessity that I know that will work, and not always for myself. Most times the things that I get, I'm giving it to others. So you have to, with me, I have to use common sense with myself. Don't give all your jewels away. You have to keep some things for yourself too. But within reason, I'm always willing to share and give out so to help others. Just like you said with Moses, you want to give people that confidence and understanding so when they get ready to go out and go up on the mountain, they can go out there by themselves and help themselves. They don't have to send me to go for them. They can go for themselves to get the help that they need. Because now all the time that they ask for something or tell you something, they're not going to tell you everything. And I don't blame them. They don't want you to know everything. So some things that they need help with or that they need, they don't need to tell. But they go and tell it to the master because they know once they let him know and tell that spiritual master, it's not going to get out anywhere. Nobody else is going to know but him. And you will be helped and relieved from all the burdens and all the stress and all the things that you need to accomplish in life with goodwill and faith, hope, and charity.
Thank you. Is anyone else? Thank you, Mother Loretta, because it's something that, and it will build faith in it. If you go out and try, like you said, some of the formulas, and some of the formulas are just based on things that are from that it said of Bible, things that we've learned about God, things that you can see that it work. Just like when I'm talking about a being of even absorb the spiritual energy of the sun and comparing it to the chlorophyll in a plant. If you can say, if you think that God would be able to feed a plant and have it to create a sustenance and light and life through light, why can't you believe that the light of God can't create in you this and create the spiritual things you need? I mean, if it says as above, so below. So if God can just take light and make energy out of it, even though man uses it, and plants uses it to make the carbohydrates and the sugar that everybody kind of lives off of, and man can use it by putting certain chemicals together to make what they call a photogenic, what do they call it? The photo cells, photo energy cells. Can't you see that light has a way through God's principles of actually empowering your life? Spiritually, we say that that also has an intelligence behind it. And that's why we're talking about with angelic beings. That is not just this physical um, dumb reaction that it makes, but it can help to change your intelligence as well. Because the things that behind that spirit of it, it is an intelligence and a wisdom behind it. And that's why I make it so important that you're thinking righteously. Because when you have the wrong intelligence with it, you actually push that thing away from you. If it doesn't find out that the intelligence that it's working with is an intelligence that keeps it in lines with God principles, then it's going to push back. It's going to feel that it is not in the right place. It's going to become upset. It will bring bad things to you. That's why we don't like to use spiritual processes for bad things, because you're opening yourself up to those bad things happening back to you. So and that's why I said, even when people talk about when someone is rooting you, the first thing you need to do if you think that somebody is after you is get yourself right. Even in Ephesians, when it talking about putting on the whole armor of God, the first thing it says you need to work with is truth. The second thing it says you need to work with is righteousness. So those are the first two things. That's why I tell people, when you're working with problems, don't try to hide the problem or make it seem, oh no, that's not a problem, or that's not hurting me. And I say that because you're not using the truth. Then the first thing it says when you put on the whole armor of God is to gird your loins with truth. So you're going to use a lie as your approach to getting a blessing from God. You already rejected the first principle that God told you to put on to get help is the truth. Come with the truth. But know that follow behind the truth is righteousness. And righteousness means to get that spirit of correction. How do I correct things? How do I correct what is wrong? And I said those are just the first two principles that they talk about in putting on the whole armor of God. First, you got to work with truth. When the Bible says this, you gird your loins um, with truth. Then it says you put on that blessed breast. No, I can't say that. The breastplate of righteousness. It shod your feet with the preparation of peace. Are you, and like I'm saying, are you making the path that you're walking on a one that prepares for peace? And peace brings a prosperity to all, not just yourself. When you're working with the preparation of peace, you're trying to get a prosperity that works for both sides, not a prosperity that works for one side. When you shod your feet with the preparation of peace. So it's just saying that how do you do these things? How you follow these ordinances of God to make you more prosperous? And that prosperity that we're talking about is a prosperity that will help to bring up all of mankind. Like Mother would always say, it will help fallen humanity. Any other questions? Because I'll take up all the time. And I do want to
Yeah,
get
I just
into
want to say hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I just thank Mother Loretta for that confirmation and thanking you. And you always have to take time out to thank the Lord, because He's doing something. He's preparing us for a new season.
Mhm.
And I just bless God to hear Mother Loretta speak of these accolades that so many of us have.
Mhm.
And that's always been one of my biggest problems. And I can often go back to when I be talking to Mother Loretta. She always tell me, you can't give everything away.
Mm-mm.
Because you can't, you got to say some things for yourself. Don't do, and the same thing with you, Father. So it feels good in my spirit to hear the confirmation this morning. And
Mhm.
I don't know about nobody else, but I just thank God for these lessons that He have been depositing in you, Father, that you will will release them, be obedient, because it's a new season, and God is preparing us. You know, He's preparing us, because a lot of us don't even realize we do give away all our Jews. We do, and we don't even realize we do it with a lot of our family members, and we don't have to do that. You know, we don't have to give away everything, and even only hearing about the praying, you know, and it was so profound that she explained it in such a quick manner, the same as you, Father, that resonated in my spirit. You know, that God have you know, we try to tell a lot of people that, but they just don't get it. I don't know if they don't want to get it. That what God is doing for me, He'll do for you. What God has given me, He has given you. Well, you have to be willing to make the transformation, and a lot of people don't want to do that. You know, they don't got caught up in their comfort zone. They don't got caught up in their comfort zone, and even and not trying to be funny or not trying to be disobedient to the president, but you can see it with him. You can see it with him, but now he's sitting on that confirmation. You understand what I'm saying? That this is not no thing that you blaspheme nobody, you judge, you now you're gonna have that mask that's so big that everybody's gonna know it, because you see it now that this had to come on to you for you to understand that you're not exempt. No matter how much power you think you got, no matter how much you think you can put your hand on something, you still wasn't exempt from this virus. And it don't have to come and get everybody that you be in contact with, your kids, your wife, and so on and so on. But it came to you because you was the one that was so doubtful. You was the one that was so full of hate, envy, and jealousy, and strife, and blaspheming people. You know, to now I don't even know if he hear people crying out or reaching out to him, telling him they praying for him, no matter, you know, what it looked like, no matter how he have treated people, you still got people praying for him. They don't want to wish no ill will against him, you know, because it's not about him. They trying to show him that they don't want to be in error with the Most High. It's a higher power. It's a higher being that's connected to all of us. Whether you like it or not, it's still connected to you, you know. So when we step out of them situations and we feel like we want to go on our own, it's a retribution that comes with that. It's recourses that comes with doing that. So, but I just thank God for Mother Loretta. Thank you, Mother Loretta. Thank you, Father, for bringing this forward, because it helps your spirit. It helps empower you. You know, I feel so strong, and just these, not just even last week when at 7 o'clock when I connected to Father Marshall, you know, on that last service Sunday, it was so powerful just to be on the phone and hear and you know, the way that each and all y'all could see. I can remember when my mom used to take us to Supreme Mother House, and we walk in there to use the bathroom or whatever. You could feel it, the presence of the Lord. It was so bright. You know, you could just in the altar. You know, I mean, I was a little boy, young boy, but I still remember the altar and the way that she was teaching Mama and them about the real seriousness and the beliefs about the altar, and it's still carried on generation through generation through generation. And so I just bless God. Matter of fact, I got to go to some camels today to fulfill my altar, but it's just a wonderful thing, and I take my hat off to you, Father, and Mother Loretta and Sister Teresa. So many people that comes on here and just bless us, and y'all don't even realize how you bless individuals on this prayer line, whether they say something or not, they being blessed. So thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all.
Well, you're welcome, and I take my head off to God, because I believe that the things that Mother gave me helped me to have a close relationship with God, and and for Mother, that's what she wanted. She wanted the people not just to become running to her all the time, but she wanted to set up a school that they could learn how to get a close relationship with God themselves, so that they can have access to all these wonderful universal principles that God has out there for everyone. Because the more people we can get to actually uh, open themselves up and open their consciousness up to these principles, the more all of us will have to share with this universe, and how we can change the mindset of the nation by coming to these principles that actually help us to grow. I think this nation is too much into believing that fear and greed are the greatest motivators of a society, when I believe that it's truth and righteousness that are the greatest motivators. It's that spirit of peace. You know, we always going around saying peace, but peace for me means a prosperity that can be shared by all. And if you can set up a prosperity that can be shared by all of those involved in it, I think that is the greatest motivator and the greatest producer in any society. And when we start getting to using those principles as the basis of our economy, we will see the economy not only grow, but you'll see it grow. It will grow for all. It won't be where you have these people. You know, they say you always have poor, but you know there are various definitions of poor. You can have poor people that are still have so much that they feel satisfied, but they want to have a poor or have a low level, because poor just means low level. You're always going to have a society where there are people at different social levels. But you don't have to have a society where those who are in the low levels are don't even have enough to eat. You can have it where the poor person has enough to eat and he has opportunities to advance himself just like those at the top. But to have a society where only those at the top have resources is a society when they even tell you that you know there's going to be some unrest in that society. You know that there's going to be some shaking up of that society because it is not balanced and everybody is not getting just their minimum needs. And everybody can live in abundance even though there will be different levels of abundance. So don't make me believe that poor people have to be suffering just to make the rich people feel good about themselves. Nobody really has to suffer in a society. You can have it where you will have different levels and different, you know, different income levels. But why do we believe that we have to make a suffering for those at the top to feel that they are more worthy than those that are at the bottom? And and anyone else have anything to say? You know, I had some other things I wanted to show about absorbing, um, but when you mention about Supreme Father Marshall, I know that they do meet on Sundays also, and Deacon Jackson mentioned about the 10-hour holy days. I think on this Sunday, which he's already started, they're probably going to review the 10 principles and the things that they talked about in there. His meeting starts at 11:30 and may already be coming close to the end because he doesn't stay long, or when they teach, they do, fortunately, they do a much shorter lesson than I do. But if anyone would like to join that lesson from Father Marshall, did I take that slide out? No, just to let you know that the number is the same number that you use to call into WebEx. So that's 415-655-0001 or 0000. So it's 0001 or 0000. And the meeting number that you want to access is 1262821774. And I'll read that again slowly. 1262821774, and then pound. In fact, you have to do pound twice, and you'll be able to hear their service on that site. Like I said, they start at 11:30 and are probably already deep into their service now. But those principles that they talked about are some of the same principles what we are saying that are there and available to us during the 10 holy days. In fact, that is going over what is known as the tree of life, which is another tree that you can use to absorb. And so what they were doing during that whole service was trying to absorb those energies and make them a part of of them as these intelligent, angelic uh, potentials that would be in them that would take them through the year. So are there any other questions or comments? And as we should remember that the messages are these lessons are recorded. They are I'm going to my put onto our website, um, which is www.spiritualguidancetemple.org. Again, that's www.spiritualguidancetemple.org. They're there, so you can be able to see the lessons. I don't think I put the one up for last week, but I'll put the one up for last week. And when this recording is cleared, I'll put this recording up so you'll be able to be a part of it. But I'm going to do our dismissal, and we'll still leave the lines open a bit after that if there are any other questions. But for the sake of the recording, let me do our dismissal and say, may the love of God illuminate your way. May the will of God direct you each day. May the peace of God all errors depart, and may the truth of God all errors depart, and may the peace of God forever dwell in your heart. Amen, amen, amen.